This is Wellness Buds, and I'm your host, Stella Wingfield.
And I'm Laura.
This episode is inspired by the following quote. You, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Buddha. Love thyself. It is so important. I know we've talked about that a lot, but I don't think the message can ever really get old. I think loving and finding your inner peace is crucial to being happy. If you're not happy with yourself and you have inner turmoil, I think that just kind of leaks out into other aspects of your life. Though I am no expert and can't speak to anyone else's experience, I have had this struggle, especially in my younger years, with loving myself and accepting myself. And I think my relationships suffered greatly as a result. So yeah, you deserve your love and affection, and that's all I and Buddha can say about it. So, on to some fun facts about our bodies. We're just going to keep going with some educational material, continuing on from last week's Valentine's Day episode. Keeping on theme with love stuff.
Yes.
So, let's go. So, testosterone is equally important for men and women. Although blood levels of testosterone in women are about 1/5 that of men, they play a crucial role in our sexuality. Studies on women in whom testosterone has diminished show that it has impact on our sex drive for sex or libido, and women who want to increase their low sex drive are often treated successfully with very small amounts of testosterone. An orgasm consumes as many as 30 parts of the brain, including those involved in touch, fantasy, memory, and reward.
Oh.
Which is kind of wild. The article that I got that information from, it actually had brain scans of like different parts of love, and it has a brain scan of like when you're in lust versus like mother love and or maternal love. Mother love sounds weird as fuck. And then the scan of the orgasm, and it was like the whole brain was lit up in this bright green. It looked wild. So I thought that was just a really fun fact. When you're in the intense head over heels part of romantic love, the amygdala sleeps, and the amygdala detects threats such as danger or uncertainty. The frontal lobe is also turned off or way, way, way down when you're in intense love, and the frontal lobe involves judgment. So the combination of not detecting threats and impaired judgment results in people more inclined to make very bad decisions. During intense love, your brain has issues not only detecting threats, but also connecting actions with long-term consequences, which I think is why they say love is blind.
Ooh.
Hello. People make all kinds of bad judgments in the beginning of the relationships, not seeing red flags because that part of your brain is just turned off. And side note, have you watched or seen a little preview of The Tinder Swindler?
I have watched.
I have watched too, and holy mother of deceit.
I love to think that I would be like, bitch, no. But also, like, part of me was like, I just don't know if I would, like, be even able to do half of the things she did for him. Like, I don't know if I could financially pull that off to begin with.
Right. Well, I don't know, because if he said he was the owner of the company and they call him for like the credit and then she's approved. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, it's basically a masterful con artist, like taking people's money, and all these women met him on Tinder. But I did love at the end that she was like, I'm still looking for love.
Yes.
And it's like, but I feel like this little fact about the amygdala and the frontal lobe just kind of coincides with that. You're seeing what you want to see. And also he was just a mass manipulator. So he did it to hundreds, or I don't even know how many women, but he swindled a lot of women. And if you haven't checked it out, I think it was worthwhile. I was just like, holy crap.
It was crazy.
Yeah. But then also too, if like your date immediately is like, get on a jet with me right now. Like who you would be like, bitch, I have to work tomorrow. No.
Literally, I was thinking about it, I was like, I have a job.
Yeah, who can just like drop everything and be like, yep, I'm going. But also in my fun employment time, fuck, who knows? Part of me could understand just being like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna get on a jet and be spontaneous and let's roll with it.
Yeah.
Know? But anyway, check it out, y'all. It's wild.
Wild.
All right. Next fact, let's chat about the vagus nerve. First off, this nerve winds from the brain all the way down to the heart. We all know that everything in the body is interconnected, but the visual of this vein just going from the brain to the heart is quite the image. But this neurological alignment allows us to detect trouble or pain in our beloved ones when no one else can.
Oh.
Yeah, as partners tune into each other, they become more open to making sacrifices for the relationship. Research finds that if sacrifice comes out of a desire to alleviate suffering in our spouses, that we get many mental and physical health benefits, which I think makes sense. The love may have cooled and calmed at this time. It's like further into a relationship. We're no longer getting the same crazy amounts of dopamine and serotonin as when we're initially lusting and falling into insanity. But the love gets deeper, more beneficial, more compassionate, and the vagus nerve response gets stronger with a more compassionate feeling, and thus there is more activity in the brain regions that help reduce anxiety and pain. Cute.
That is so cute.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I found so many cute things, so let's keep going.
We chose cuteness.
Well, and last week I was just like, I'm not trying to shove relationship facts and stuff on Valentine's Day. When I was single, I was like, fuck this holiday, fuck everything. And even though I still kind of think Valentine's Day is cheesy and I just think you should express love all the time anyway. I'm just not trying to like, oh, if you're single, I'm really like singling you out, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, I'll just wait a week before the more lovey ones. So being happily married or in a stable relationship has positive impacts on mental health. Duh. Research has found that high marital quality is associated with less depression and lower stress. I think it's obvious, but for anyone who needs to hear it, single people have better mental health outcomes than people who are unhappily married or partnered. So if you're in an unhappy relationship, get out. And I know it isn't that simple, but for your mental health, you got to do what's best for you. A study done, oh yes, I love this one. Okay, a study done at the University of California, Davis found that when they analyzed 32 heterosexual couples who were facing each other for 3 minutes, that their heart rates were basically identical. Their heart rates literally synced up. And the researchers guess that this happened because of the strong connection between partners on both a physical and emotional level. How cute is that?
That is so adorable.
And then I looked into some research studies with sex in older adulthood, and here were some conclusions. Weekly sexual activity was associated with better overall cognition and scores on subtests of verbal fluency and visuospatial ability. And sexual activity is associated with higher scores on tests of memory and executive function in adults aged 50 to 89. So if you didn't already need an excuse to just keep on going when you get older. Yeah, so interesting facts all around.
Yes.
And that concludes our little educational section of this week's episode.
Whoop. Now let's get personal.
Yeah, let's get back to our self-love prompts. Since this quote today was about self-love and that's how we started, I kind of wanted to keep our prompts unified. So the first one is, how would you rate your relationship with yourself? And explain that.
So I'm gonna go with like a day-to-day solid 7. Occasionally, with the right makeup, it's an 8. But I'm gonna say I'm a solid 7, you know? And I think that's more because I am at least comfortable with who I am. Like, I don't struggle with like coping with my personality. I do think I will sometimes be aware of, I have a big voice, a strong personality. I can sometimes, I'm forward with how I feel. Like, same with being open. I am just forward with how I feel. And I think sometimes I do know that can come off intense. So when I'm trying to do something that might be a little more sensitive for the other person, I try and be aware of my personality. I can't change it. It's kind of stuck here, but I try to be aware of that energy. So I'm comfortable in myself while being aware that who I am doesn't always work for every situation, and I try to adapt without changing who I am.
Yeah, I think everyone needs that little bit of adjustment depending on who they're around.
Yeah. I do think I can still get on myself about silly things. And I think also that's like growing up in a world that like all of our models are like 24 and under, and like your body changes, and like it's supposed to change. And that is not seen in mainstream media. And I feel like turning 27 this year, I'm really in that phase of like, I could weigh the exact same number, but my body just is a little different. And not crazy, but I mean, we know how us women get. I can critique her a little too hard sometimes. So that's when we go back down to a 7.
Yeah.
Because, like, girl, stop being an asshole. Also, like, everyone just shouldn't look the same, okay? Your flaws can also just be what makes you different. And I let that happen. Also,
Yeah.
back to the famous, it's the least interesting thing about me, so I need to just let it go.
Yep. Do you have more to say about yours?
That's basically it. When getting comfortable with my personality, because it's so large, was probably my biggest hurdle growing up.
Yeah, I can imagine. Because it's like, obviously, when you do have a big personality, it doesn't always vibe with everyone.
Yeah.
And people like to be judgy and critical as fuck of other people, so I can only imagine that like impacts how you feel about it too.
But also, like, you can't change it when sometimes you're just an annoying person. And I'm just going to allow it.
I wouldn't classify you as annoying.
Okay, go back to day 1. We've heard your first impression.
But I never thought that you were annoying. I was just like, okay, she talks a lot and is loud. You know?
Yes.
And I'm just like, okay, I am usually such a reserved person that it's just totally the opposite of me. And I'm like, okay, whoa. It's like, take it down a notch or two. But then, obviously, it's like, now I just love that because it's like, you are unapologetically you, and I love it so much. It's like, this is who you are. You're hilarious and fun, and if you have something to say, we gon' hear it.
Yes.
Yeah, so I rated my relationship with myself as 7.5.
I like the accuracy.
Yeah. But I will also say that on like a really good hair or makeup day or outfit day, that it'd probably go up to an 8 or an 8.5, depending.
Yes.
But I think I struggled with parts of myself personality-wise too, for a while. So I just wrote that I'm proud of the strides that I'm making, and for the most part, I'm happy with how I conduct myself. In the past, when I was behaving in a way that I was not proud of, I was super judgmental and critical of myself. And even though those aren't my proudest moments, I've learned to be more compassionate with myself. I'm just a human. I make mistakes. Sometimes I get a little snippier than I would prefer to get. But I'm self-aware enough to know that when I'm acting in a way that is not cute, and I know to work on those habits, and I'm seeking help to work on said behavior. So I just wrote that I'm happy with my progress here, but also I'm still working on it. And I think having a good relationship with yourself is kind of turning down or turning off that inner critic. Not to not acknowledge the things that you don't like, but to not be so hard on yourself about it. So I feel good about myself in that way, but I always feel like there is room for like where I could rate myself higher. You know what I mean? Like if I had, I don't know, just a better relationship with myself in that way. But I'm happy that I'm seeking career fulfillment in more ways than just getting a job for money, but looking for a position that is more aligned with my values and social impact goals. And, you know, going back to school when I did that, that was all that was about. So I'm happy that I made that step toward a better mental well-being place. Then I'm always coming to terms with my damn appearance, but overall, I'm pretty satisfied and loving with myself. And obviously, that goes with the caveat of I'm always working on myself and my health too, and I'm accepting of my imperfections without shaming myself for the way I look. But I'm always going to strive to be better at the same time. So it's kind of walking a fine line for me between like wanting to look better, but still having acceptance of like, I work hard for this body. I work out, I eat well, so I should be proud of it instead of criticizing it. Like, I'm doing all the steps, so why am I so critical, you know? And I know I can't change certain features. I was born with this face. I have certain genetic makeup that makes me more prone to stretch marks and shit like that. Yeah, I've definitely become more content with those aspects of myself too, because it's like, why stress shit that you can't change? So I feel like my relationship with myself is improving all the time. Like, the more habits and time that I spend on myself, the better I feel about / with myself. Making time to do things that bring me joy just for the sake of joy, you know? And it's like, I don't have to dedicate every single thing of my day just to the way I look, you know? So finding that mental health balance to fine-tune my balance of things. And I could always accept more, you know? It's like always a work in progress. So yeah, that's what I wrote.
Yay, I like it. The next one, the qualities do I bring to a relationship? I was joking with Stella earlier, but I kind of did this with like the 3 qualities I appreciate about myself, because I did do them in relationships. So per my last episode, I do, openness is probably my biggest thing, because that's just like part of my personality that I bring into the relationship. I really struggle to not just share everything. I mean, like, if I need to keep a secret, I need to keep a secret, don't get me wrong. But when it's my things to tell, I tend to, especially with a partner, be really open about that. And I think, especially now, knowing I didn't always get that in past relationships, it's something that I want to bring, like, tenfold, to be like, I'm bringing this, so reciprocate it, versus it just being a piece of my personality.
Right.
Because I think it does just come more natural to me, because I'm like that with everyone in my life. Like, almost to a fault. My bosses, I'm sorry, you probably know too much. But yeah, my openness, and then being attentive to small things and planning, again, just those are ways that I kind of can show my love while bringing something to the relationship, and it brings me up. Like, then I feel good about myself, and I'm like, okay, I am a partner. Because sometimes, okay, this is gonna sound so lame, but like, the other day was playing Animal Crossing, and Harrison has started playing Animal Crossing with me on his Switch, so we each have our own island, and he came to visit my island, and I was like, I'm way too excited that he will play this game with me, because I know this kind of game is not totally his vibe, but he's like, it's actually kind of relaxing when you just want to like calm down, because you're just going around an island getting resources.
Adorable.
He like really has embraced this because of my love for Animal Crossing, and we like played together on my island, and then he sent me a postcard that was like, love ya baby, have fun gaming, and it came to my Animal Crossing mailbox. And I was like, oh my God, this is so adorable. But like when I get things like that, I'm like, okay, do I even do enough? Because I didn't even think to send him something like this. Like I get a little thing and I'm like, do I do enough little things? Because it was like so adorable and it made my heart so excited.
It is the little things. Even when you were talking about Harrison sending you a massage and when that was happening in real time, I was like, why have I never thought to send Josh something? I need to send him something as a surprise. I was thinking about doing that for Valentine's Day, and then I'm like, okay, what can I send him though?
What I sent Harrison random was a gift card to a hot yoga studio because he really likes hot yoga.
Oh.
And I know Josh is kind of getting into his like gym thing, so maybe you could find like a fun gym thing to be like, try something new.
Yeah. Also, though, I don't want to push it too far either. Like, he's going to the gym, he's doing his thing, and his gym on campus is free, and his gym is like pretty tight. I went there a couple weekends ago with him.
Yeah.
And there's a rock climbing area, there are basketball courts, there's ping pong, there's racquetball. Like, there's so many things set up in his gym already for fun things.
You know, you could also get him like a gift card to 2 different restaurants because you know he loves to try food.
Yeah, that's true. Here's a gift card, but also wait for me because I want date night.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta brainstorm more,
But it is like, it was just really cute. So the little things, and I feel like obviously I'm getting that reciprocated, but it makes me worry that I'm not. And I like know I do things, but I've also never been so matched to someone that also does little things that I'm like, well, calm down. This is supposed to be my thing.
That's the best surprise, though, when someone does match you on that.
Yes. Also, commitment. I'm like, that's just easy for me. I think I like naturally, for the first time, tried dating 2 people at once. I did not thrive. I had no obligation to either of them, and my own conscience decided I was the shit human.
Oh.
It's hard, because eventually you got to tell one of them. At the end, you have to pick eventually. And so, commitment, easy for me to bring, and I do normally bring that, like, if you ask for that, then I mean it. And then I put hype guy, so I'm really good at, like, hyping people up. Especially,
so true.
Yes. But I like also, there's a balance because I think, especially in my newest relationship, I like hype him up while being like, but like, we do need to work on like this. And if we need to work on this, here's how we could do it. Like, versus being like, that's just a bad habit. You need to like change it. Like, we can have an open conversation about like, do you want it to change and how can it change?
Yeah. Important.
But because it's like, I know you're so awesome and hype because look at all these other things. And if we fix that one bad habit, it'll help all the other things. So like hyping them up, but also like not just ignoring the bad things because I'm a hype guy.
It's a good balance to have.
It really is. Like also like you need someone to call you out on your flaws. You just need it.
Yep. And if you need that person, I am really good at that.
Yes. If you combined us, it'd be the best balance.
Yeah.
Okay, girl, what qualities you bring in?
Okay, so I guess I will start on that part. So it's like, even though I do... Okay, so like one of my things I wrote was structure, guidance / motivation. I set high expectations of people that I love. So Josh will definitely tell you that I push him to be his best self. Not like I'm forcing him to do anything he does not want to do, but I know he's capable and that's why I push. So it's like, if I do notice something that isn't healthy for our relationship, I will point it out in a loving way.
Yes.
And I think that is, I don't know, for my own sanity, I need to. Because like if I notice something especially that I'm like, okay, this is not the vibe, and it is not making me happy, especially in the beginning of our relationship. I pointed out certain things and I'm like, I cannot cope with this thing. And I'm not telling you that you have to change, but if it doesn't improve though, this isn't going to last long term. Like I don't want to go into our deal breakers because we're going to get there.
Yeah,
but
well, if
yeah,
you can flow. You can flow there.
yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about it. So, yeah, I bring that, though, the motivation, guidance, structure to the relationship. I also bring lots and lots and lots of love. I am such a loving person for the people that are in my life. I have lots of love to give, and I definitely give. So I bring that. I'm very nurturing as well. Even though you might think that I'm harsh, and sometimes I am, I also have a very nurturing side. So at least I have the balance. And I'm very caring and show it in various little ways. And I guess it goes along with giving lots of love that I'm very affectionate. I love to show my affection. I love all the kisses. I love hugs and massages. I love giving Josh a good massage. And it feels good to make someone else feel good in that way. I bring a lot of honesty too. Sometimes maybe too much honesty, but it is just how it has to be with like the open ears, open communication. I can take it as well, but I'm also giving all the honesty because like I just said, it's like if I'm unhappy with something, I'm not just going to let it fester.
Because then it becomes way worse. I can make a anthill into a full ass mountain if you let me hold it in.
Right. Just like, I gotta nip it in the bud. If I don't like something, I'm gonna say it. And if I have to have a conversation about whatever, you know, I think having that open line of communication is so important in a relationship. Also, I bring a lot of empathy to the relationship because, you know, you act certain ways based on your previous experiences. So it isn't like if I see a behavior that I don't like, I'm going to notice it, but then I'm also going to be like, okay, but why is he acting that way? Instead of just getting pissed at him for acting that way. It's like, I know that you're acting this way because of a reason. I'm not a cold ass bitch. Like that I'm not going to acknowledge that you have a past and the reason you're acting like this is because of past trauma or something, you know? I feel like that's a strong quality of mine. I also bring a lot of support. I feel like that's just so imperative for a loving relationship. It's like I'm always going to support him in his dreams and what he wants to do, and unless it's something absolutely wild, like if he's going a little too buck wild with buying vinyl, my God, I'm just like, okay, I support you in your endeavors, but I need to set a little limit here because if there's not a limit there, then it's just insane. I feel like for a little, like he got this Mars Volta box set that was like $500, and I was like, okay, and I think he got that in like June of last year. And I was like, okay, you're not getting any more vinyl for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's acceptable. Like $100 on vinyl a month max. Like, do not spend more than that. That is just borderline. I don't want to say crazy because it's not a good word to use, but it's just like a little insane to spend so much on vinyl. So, you know, I'm supportive, but like I also have my limits.
Yes. And it's called $100 a month on vinyl.
Yeah. And, like, you probably shouldn't be buying a bunch of other shit, though, too. You know, like, yeah. Even if you're making a lot of money, which, you know, it's like you just need to have those boundaries for yourself.
Yes.
And I don't think he would set boundaries for himself if I wasn't there, you know?
That is something you have definitely, like, cultured into him.
Yeah. It's like, okay, we can have fun and we can do cool things and you can get what you want to get, but we also just need to, like, budget a little bit and save for our long-term goals, too, instead of just getting things that are great for the now.
Mm-hmm.
I want a house to put that vinyl in.
Yes.
Can't be spending all of our money on vinyl when we need to, like, be saving for a home. But, yeah. And then Also, like we talked about on Valentine's Day, the planning aspect of things, I bring that planning to the maximum. I have planned so many vacations, so many hiking trips, so many backpacking trips, and I honestly find so much joy in it because then, too, a lot of times he doesn't want to know what I'm planning. So then it's just a really fun surprise. And then we get to the Airbnb and it's dope. And he's like, oh my gosh. And so happy that he didn't look at it at all. Even though I'm so excited, I'm like, are you sure you don't want to see? You don't want to see what hikes we're going to do? You don't want to see where we're staying? And if I do show him, it's like one time when I'm booking it, and then by the time we're on the vacation, he totally forgot that that's what it looked like, and then it is a surprise all over again. So I feel like that is both, it's rewarding for both of us, you know? It's
yeah.
like I spend all this time, this labor of love to do this thing that then is just so rewarding once we get there, and yeah. I say I do all of like the trip planning, and then he does, if he wants to go do musical things, he does more of like the music planning stuff, like concert stuff. Mm-hmm. Back when I felt comfortable going to concerts.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that is my list. I'm sure that I bring more, but it is kind of hard to think about it.
It is. It's hard to brag on yourself. Reasons I'm a 7.
Yeah. What I don't bring to a relationship is that cooking. That's all, Josh.
Okay. With the deal breakers, what are our deal breakers? It's funny because also we kind of brought this up with Love is Blind. I like wrote these and I'm like, these are deal breakers because I accepted them at one point.
Oh. Well,
For the most part.
Yeah. But now you know I do not accept this.
Yeah. So one of them that's a deal breaker that also just comes with like getting older now. I at 20 did not ask this early on, is not wanting kids. I want kids. I have felt like I've been open about that from really forever, but I wasn't like at 20, date 3. I'm like, okay, so like, do you want A, B, and C? And now I've just realized, like, that's just one I have to nip quick because it's just silly to waste people's time.
Yeah. If it's really what you want and it's really what they don't want, like.
Exactly.
Not compatible.
Because I am like, if I end up having reasons I can't have kids, I don't think it's like a make or break my life. Don't get me wrong. But I would like the option and I want to have them.
If you for some reason couldn't, which I can't imagine, I mean, you never know, but
yeah,
would you adopt?
I mean, if they deem me financially capable, the adoption is like hard to get cleared through. But
I think
yes,
you would get it if you had to.
I would at least foster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, do something. But yeah, it would be interesting. I mean, I would just probably want kids in my life in some way, you know. But yeah, it's something where I want someone that's at least like, yes, I'm open to that and would do that. Then, shutdowns. If you don't have openness in return. Like I said, I have not gotten it in return in the past. I'm over that. Harrison hears me, lets me bitch about shit, and then tells me I'm not unjustified and it's okay to just not always be rationally feeling, and then tells me how he feels. And it's like, yeah, I need openness. I can't take the shutdowns. Like, I can't say all my feelings and you'd be like, okay.
Just looking at a wall, like, no response.
Like,
cool.
Please stop. So those are out for me. Kind of similar to that, like intolerance, but I mean that in like not willing to compromise. Also, if you're being intolerant of people outside of our relationship, like that's not the kind of life I live. So I'm not trying to be with a person like that. And like, you should be able to compromise with other humans too. Like, compromise is just a part of life.
Yeah.
And I think you can't also, the intolerance is like, if you don't like something, you should tell me and we should talk about it. That doesn't mean you're right, I'm right, anything. Being able to like compromise.
Yeah, I was just going to say we have to deal with people all the damn time. It's a part of life. So if you don't know how to deal with other people, you're probably not gonna make it that far.
Exactly.
It's like, it's a part of life. You gotta do it.
This last one is a no judgment zone. I swear on my life, I just think I would not make it past many dates if you're a smoker of cigarettes. I really make your choice. You're an adult. I am not judging. I just cannot do the scent of them. It is so much, and it's so overpowering. And to be honest, my dad smoked, so it's all these associations of the scent for me. It's just a no.
It is also a no for me, dog. That was my number one thing listed on my deal breakers.
Yes. I just and I hate, sometimes I don't like saying it because I'm not trying to judge. Because it's just, I can't do it. I wouldn't make it far enough to know you past knowing you smoke. That's the problem. It's not that you're a bad person. I just couldn't get past it.
Right. I was going to say, though, as far as anyone listening, this is a judge-free zone. It's I might not like it, but I'm not, you live your life however the fuck you want to live it. Just because I don't want to kiss someone who tastes like that or smells like that, that's fine. Y'all do you. Literally, it's whatever. Also with whenever we talked about the tidiness thing a couple episodes ago, I really wanted to be after we recorded, I was like, oh, fuck. I hope people don't think I'm judging them. You live however you want to live. If you want to live in a messy place, that's fine for you. I just wouldn't want to live like that. It's everyone needs to do their own thing, and that's great. It's just not how I want to live my life. I really don't want to be around smokers. So was that your last item?
Yes.
Yeah. So whenever I was saying the whole, something about deal breakers and you can do it or you can choose to keep going, but I'm not necessarily on board if you keep going. And when I met Josh, he was a smoker, and I was like, you're either going to quit or we're breaking up eventually. We can have fun, but this isn't going to go anywhere serious.
Yeah.
If it doesn't stop, because then, I used to be a smoker. And honestly, when I first met Josh, I was working my double job life and then also going to school full time. It was a pretty stressful time trying to balance everything. And then when I started dating him and he was smoking, I started smoking again. And then a couple months into that, I was just like, fuck no, I cannot be doing this anymore. I had been quit for a year at least, maybe even 2 years. And it's just no, I can't fall back into this. So you're either quitting, I'm definitely quitting, we need to quit together, or I'm quitting and going my other way. So yeah, deal breaker, smoker, can't do it.
Yeah.
I feel like I have way more petty things on my list than you. I was I'm not going to list all the things of obvious deal breakers. If you're cheating on me, it's a deal breaker. If, stuff like that. If you're abusive, fuck no.
Yeah. Amen.
But, yeah, if you're basic and aren't into good music or aren't at least open to listening to better music, deal breaker.
Yes.
If you're too self-absorbed or too hairy, I don't know why I grouped them together, but
self-absorbing and hair obviously go together.
They're separate, but I loop them together. I do not like too hairy of a man personally. Little hair is chill. Too much hair is just not my thing.
The facials that I'm getting.
I wish it could come across in audio, but I'm not trying to make it isn't disgusting. Because that's how you are. If you were born that way, that's fine. Some women love that shit. And, it's a good thing we all have different preferences.
Yes.
That hairy man is for someone out there, for sure.
Yes.
Liars. Catching people in lies. I'm not into that. Just fucking be open with me. If you did some shit that I'm not gonna like, just be upfront about it.
Yeah.
I'll be upfront about some shit that I did that I'm not proud of, but we're in a relationship and you need to know about it. So, You know, we're not perfect. I might not like a thing you did, but just let me know. If Josh spends too much on vinyl, he'll let me know. He's
Just
like,
let me know.
Sorry. Anger issues that they're not willing to work on. I understand. Like I was saying too earlier, it's like you've had past experience that maybe have led you to do or deal with your anger in not a healthy way. And it doesn't mean that that's how you always have to conduct yourself. You can move forward and learn different coping mechanisms. So that is honestly something that Josh brought into our relationship from past stuff. And he's worked on it, and now he doesn't do those things, and it's great. So it's kind of just like the openness on their end to compromise, like you were saying too. You know, it's like we all have things that we could work on, and if you have an open partnership where you can talk about those things and move forward together, that's important. Bad grammar, deal breaker. If your grammar sucks, sorry, I can't deal with it.
I love that you have petty things on your list. I could barely make my 4 big ones. But also, this is how I get stuck in situations where I'm like, well, this is bad.
The list continues. Don't worry, girl. Bad kisser or not a good lover. Deal breaker. Being under 5'10". Sorry, I like a tall guy. It's a deal breaker. No ambition. That is another deal breaker.
I can appreciate that one. I'm just going to put out there, I think the height thing is dumb. It's not you. I just, in the general world, there's so many women like that, okay? You're going to miss out on some good people just because they're a little short.
Yeah, it's like I've dated a shorter dude before, and they were a great person, and I did try to give it a go, but in general, it's just my preference. I just like feeling really secure in the arms of a taller man. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you're not an animal lover, something's wrong with you. Bye. Too much alcohol consumption, not into it. And that's also something in my early 20s that I probably that wouldn't have been a deal breaker. Mm-hmm. Especially because I was in the throes of my own alcohol issues. So if you were into heavy consumption of alcohol, I was like, yeah, let's go. I'm here for it. But now it's like, fuck no.
Yes.
Just no. I also used to think being a pothead was a deal breaker until I met the most caring stoner of my life, and he converted me. So, things can change. If you're ignorant or just plain dumb, I just can't. We need to have meaningful conversations, and
yes,
if you're not on my level, someone else will be on your level,
Yes.
Also, if you stand on the other side of important issues, I feel like it's one thing to have a different political leaning than me, but if your political beliefs indicate that you're heartless and just have no space for empathy with others that are struggling or suffering because of systemic issues within our society, that is a deal breaker. If you voted for a particular person in 2016, that's a deal breaker. I cannot stand by someone who supports bigotry, hatred, inequity, etc. And on the total opposite end of pettiness from that, if you have long nails, it's a deal breaker.
Because nail clippers don't exist.
If you're unwilling to change the long nails is the deal breaking part. If you have long nails to begin with and I'm like, okay, I really need you to trim your nails and you're unwilling to do so. That's, it's so unkempt. I just don't like it.
Yes.
And then if you don't like the outdoors or traveling, it's really an important part of my life. So Josh was very open to all of that. He was new to hiking when I first met him, and then he quickly fell in love with it and adopted that outdoorsy lifestyle. If you're too clingy, deal breaker. If you have a bad sense of humor, also a deal breaker. And last but not least, if you wear Crocs, it's probably a deal breaker.
I'm dead. My roommate and his girlfriend have been looking at Crocs, and I roasted them.
Good.
They were like, what do you think of this color? And I was like, I think you're on the wrong website to start with.
Yes. Very wrong. Something is so wrong with them. Although, like, it's different in, like, food and bev. I understand, like, the closed-toed croc is comfortable or whatever, but if you're wearing it in everyday life, that's
if you put widget things on them, I judge you.
Ooh.
If you start personalizing your croc.
Oh my gosh. Not cute. It's just not cute. Product of the week.
Pow!
This week's product is cool ashtrays. So, with lids, they have to have lids to contain the smell. So, I recently, and by recently, probably like within 6 months or so, definitely during the pandemic, I got this really cool sunflower snail ashtray that is just a real cool vibe. It adds nice aesthetic to my living situation, which, if you know me, I love some nice aesthetic of the living.
Yes.
Indoor decor, love it. And then I also got this like ceramic, really pretty, like teal ashtray. Yeah, it makes a difference. It's cute. I feel like you inspired me to get the cool ashtrays because you have some really cool ones as well.
I do. I also got mine on Amazon, and it is like a lid. Mine looks like a golden globe. Well, not the award, like a globe that is golden.
A sphere.
Yeah, and the top, like, fourth of it flips out to have an ashtray, and then it flips back into a full sphere. It's very cool.
It is so cool. I think when I saw that, I was like, ooh, I really need to step up my ashtray game.
You know, it's going to be seen, so they got to be cool.
Yeah, and if you're a stoner, it's just good to have around.
It's gotta happen.
Yeah, it's all I can really say about that. So I'll just say thank you all so much for tuning in and listening to us. If you want to join our journal challenge, feel free to call or text our business line at 971-292-5565. Email us at wellnessbudspodcast@gmail.com or message us on socials. You could also use those contact methods if you have any suggestions for future episodes, if you have any questions, or if you want to share anything about your personal wellness journey, or if you have any hilarious deal breakers that you want to share with us, or anything like that. We look forward to hearing from you, and I'm so thankful for everyone who's listening. We appreciate your support. If you like what you're hearing, please leave us a review, donate, subscribe, share with a friend or family member, or share on your socials, or just keep listening because that's just so appreciated. Thanks again, and we will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.